Hi felters and welcome. This is just a really cute avocado design that I had a lot of fun with. I put a little heart on the stone of this one. We're going to do something slightly different with the next one. So this is the wool. It's King Cole, big value from Amazon Forest colour. I think this is a lime. I'll put the name up from Felt Wildly. This is just any pink will do that you've got. This is the stone colour. It was Deer from World of Wool. All the wool I'm using is carded, and then any core wool that you have. And the eyes are 7mm and a tiny bit of black for the mouth. So take your core wool and just start shaping it into, I would say, an oblong shape. Please don't panic about trying to get the avocado shape spot on perfect with a really flat front. I researched it and I saw quite a lot of avocados with sort of rounded fronts, so it doesn't have to be absolutely spot on. I do go through the measurements in a minute. But as soon as you put the lime colour on and the dark green, it's going to look like an avocado. I saw some quite unusual shaped avocados as well. So, please don't panic that you have to get this absolutely spot on. So how I like to do it is I shape it roughly. The wool's all quite loose. I'm just testing the height. I need to put more at the top, definitely more around the bottom. And I like to build it up and then I will go over and firm it up. So as you build it up, if it is about at least a third bigger, by the time you firm it all up, it will be roughly the size and shape that you want it to be. So always go a tiny bit larger when it's all loose like this. Some people like to build it up and do the core and make it quite firm, but this way it's still firm in the core, but I just sort of sculpt the shape and then I firm it up. So I'm just adding some more to the top, starting to get the shape there. It could do with being a little bit bigger. So the ultimate end one is 4 inches down. And I think it's 2.5 total depth. Just so you know what, no, 2 inches depth. See, the stone is sticking out by about 1/2 inch. And then acrossways 2.5 across. So that's your end goal. And yours doesn't have to be exactly the same as mine. It might be smaller, it might be bigger. Like I said, as soon as you put those colours on, it's going to look like an avocado. So slightly thinner at the top, slightly fatter at the bottom, and then a little bit round the back and you'll be there. So I keep building it up a bit more before I go in all the way around and firm it up. I'm using my multi-needle tool holder there. It really helps speed things up. I think in all, he probably took me, I don't sit down and do it in one go, about an hour and a half, maybe a bit less. So there we go. I'm quite happy. See, it's a little bit bigger there, so that's perfect. And then I take my clover pen. I've got 240 triangulars in there. I don't like to put all 3 in there. I just find it penetrates the wool a bit better. And then spend a bit of time going all the way over it. So doing the edges, I go around the edge and I do the flat bit at the top. And the last bit I do is the actual edge, sort of the vertice, the corner of it. Because if you go straight in too early, you sort of flatten the edge. But like I said, please don't panic. It doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. But here I am sort of getting the edge bit, going either side of it. And then once you're happy, then you can go around the actual corner edge bit. So I firmed it all up. Took me a good 20 minutes or so, just rough measurements. So 2.5, just under, and the 4 again. So that's roughly the heights, because I always get told off for not putting the measurements in. And what type of needles I'm using as well. But needles is up to you, so that was 2. But lots of people like different needles, so you don't have to use the same needles as me. Pop your lime on the top, make sure it goes slightly over the edge, but the green, darker green wool is going to cover that up, so you don't have to go all the way down. So pop it on, make sure there's no gaps of the white showing through. Because the wool's carded, it merges really, really well. So you can add little bits and cover it up. And then just with my clover pen, I went all the way over and it firmed it up enough. With the first one, I did go over with the spiral afterwards, but to be fair, it looked quite good when I just done it with the clover pen on this one, so It's up to you how much smoothness you want to get on this. See, that's quite a good smoothness there, so quite happy with it. I sometimes flatten it on the table if you really want to get the flat surface. It helps firm it up a little bit more. And then I do the outside now because I just find it easier when you've done the stone gets in the way. So take the wool. It is, surprisingly, this is an acrylic wool, but it felted really well. It was absolutely fine. It's better if your wool has a bit of wool in it, but I don't know why, but this one felted no problem at all. So I have got my 40 spiral. I think any triangular needle will be fine with this. You don't have to use the spiral. And you're just I'm gonna felt the outline first and get it nice and straight. So that's what we're aiming for on the done avocado. It doesn't have to be sort of bang on the corner. Mine seems to be sort of down a little bit, and you just feed it round. If it goes wrong, you can just pull it off if you're not straight. Keep checking you're straight as you're going, and make sure the wool is unwind a bit from the ball of wool so that it doesn't pull. You just don't want it pulling as you're trying to feed it in. It's a little bit wonky at the bottom there, but it's not too bad because it won't show that much. And then I go wonky here, just pull it off, and then, you know, refelt it in. It's really easy. And then this is I quite enjoy this bit. This is the fun bit. I just go up a little bit and then just feed it round and round and round, and it gets smaller and smaller. And it just gives a lovely, I've speeded it all up for you here. It gives it a lovely sort of dimpled effect, which I think is perfect for the sort of skin of an avocado. And so you could use a dark green wool, absolutely. It would be fine. But there we go, nice and easy and done. I think it's a lovely textural feeling too. So we're going to do the stone, and it's sticking out quite a bit. So we're going to take some of the deer wool, and there's a couple of white bits in it I don't like. So just wrap it really tightly into a little ball. Keep wrapping it. I'm trying to get a smooth finish on the top of it. So keep wrapping it, and then we're going to felt it loosely together on the mat before we pop it onto the avocado. And I just felt through the bottom of it to get it to hold together. I don't want to disturb the top. We can shape the top once it's on the avocado. So I'm just felting the bottom enough that it holds together. Just like that, a few stabs, not too many. And then I'm going to pop it on. Center bottom. And then exactly the same. I felt the circular shape of the bottom, and then I'm going to go all the way over it. So I'm basically positioning it exactly where I want it first, with the nice circular shape. And then we're going to go over it and felt it. That bit will sort of be covered up when we felt it down. But I just want to make sure it's definitely in the right position. So just gently going all the way around the base there. Sorry about that, that was the dogs. Delivery at the door. So once you get the circular bit done, see it's sticking out quite a lot. Then I take the 40 spiral, or whatever, 40 triangular will be fine. And then I'm just going to felt it roughly all over, just trying to keep that shape that I want before I really firm it up. So I'm generally just going all the way over it, checking I've got the right shape and it looks good and there's no sort of join marks really showing. And now I go over it and work my way just to firm it all up properly, because we're going to be attaching things to it. You want it to have a degree of firmness. So there I am, just sort of working my way all the way over it. And then once you're done, you can just squash it a bit and make sure it's definitely the shape you want. So there's that bit all done. Next we're going to do the eyes. So they're 7mm plastic eyes. I get my eyes from Cello Express. This is an awl or an owl that I'm using. You can use a pair of scissors, but it just really, because these eyes have quite thick posts, I have to push it all the way in and make a nice large size hole. The eyes just don't come out. They're even with this ridged post on the back, they definitely don't come out. But I put a tiny bit of glue on the end and put them in. So I test them first without any glue. And here I am pushing all the way through. You have to really get a nice big hole. It comes out the other side. Check their level. Then teeny bit of all-purpose Bostik glue. Pop it on the end and push them in. And then they're secure. Next up we'll do the mouth. So I'm using a little bit of black yarn wool, just because sometimes I find it easier. You can take a little bit of black carded, twizzle it between your fingers and get exactly the same effect. But lately I've been cheating with a bit of yarn wool. So this is too wide and I'm just going to trim off either end. You always want to start with, when you're doing details like this, wider, because sometimes the ends felt inwards and just disappear. So if you cut it to the exact length, it's kind of going to end up smaller than what you want. So I want this to be a little bit smaller either end, and it will be just perfect. So very delicate felts with a finer needle really helps when you're doing detail. Then we'll do the cheeks. You could do them whatever colour you want, but pink is obviously a very definite pink cheek colour. I was going to call this Amy Avocado, I think. I don't know. But what we're going to do so you roll the ball up, really roll it up between your fingers, and that gets you the head start. So I was going to call this, like I said, Amy Avocado, but I like the heart that I did on the stone, but on this one we're going to do a mini avocado, which, you know, is kind of like as if the avocado was pregnant. But I just thought it was really sweet. So very light, delicate felting with the cheeks so that they don't sort of felt backwards too much. Now we're going to do a little bit of hair at the top. I played around with locks and all sorts. Nothing looked right. So in the end, I just took the yarn wool and I've done little ringlets, little hoops on itself, felted it to itself. I do 5, really simple. And you could put a tag at the top, put a hook at the top, or some ribbon. So it could hang off doors. It could be something for Christmas. You know, it could be an ornament to go somewhere. So it's quite versatile. It would be quite sweet. It could hang in your car or something like that off the mirror. So felt them all through. Then I pulled them out of the mat, and then I just, the fluffy end bit, felt that into the avocado first. So it's sort of on the side. So felt the base bit in, then let it sort of come upright and felt down a little bit as well. So just a couple of felts down, and it's nice and secure. If you were going to do ribbon, I would sew that in probably first and then put the hair around it. So there's the hair. And now with this one, we're just going to do a mini avocado. So I took the wool and stripped it out so it was the thinnest it could be. Took some of the lime. We'd just do, it's just going to pop on the stone just to the side like the heart is. And just felt a little avocado shape into your mat. Then fold over either sides and either ends. So you're sort of getting the shape now. So fold the ends up. So you've got edges. Don't panic too much about it being too thin at the top. It's going to be obvious what it is. And then it's still quite fluffy and woolly. And then I take a needle and I start through the middle and go all the way through the middle bit first and then work your way out to the edges. Don't go straight to the edges first because you might lose the shape a bit. And then gradually go to the edges and neaten them up a bit, but you're going to put the dark green on the edge, so it's kind of going to be covered up, so it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. And there we go. And then take the little bit of green. It's a bit fiddly, but it does work. Just feed that round. Very gently just felt it. It doesn't take much felting for this little bit to attach, so, and then just feed it all the way around and back to the top. Then we're going to do a little stone. I went over and sort of felted it all a little bit smoother, pop a teeny stone on, and then I did 2 eyes and a tiny bit of hair. There wasn't much more detail I could do than that. Because it's so small, it's quite hard to get the detail in. But you could put anything you want, or you could put nothing on the stone. It's completely up to you. But yeah, this avocado is just fun to play around with, and I think it would be quite popular to sell, you know. So I trimmed the hair. It just looks like a little mini baby avocado. So there we are, they're all done. So I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. If you've really enjoyed it and you're thinking of making them to sell, I now have a Ko-fi account, so you can buy me a coffee if you want to. So thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you again soon.